awesome news, ladies and gentlemen. Not only does the Y4 Comet C 2019 Y4 Comet Atlas have a tail of about 2.5 million miles long and an atmosphere of about 720,000 kilometers, it also is bringing its friend. Now, is this the prophecy of the blue and red Kachinas? Probably not. But it does have an interesting parallel, and I would like to share that with you because there is a comet right behind the Comet Atlas. It's also called Comet Atlas. It just has a different number, and it possibly could be from another comet. Both of these comets could be from what is called the C-1844 Great Comet. I don't know. It's very interesting. I've even heard people say they think this could be a planet or an incoming star, possibly the Nemesis. I'm not convinced about that, and I certainly hope not. This thing is coming in fast. But I'm going to share with you the notes. Then I want to show you the projections and show you the locations of both of these comets. And I want to share with you a little bit more about the prophecy, about the blue and red Kachina prophecy. I also want to thank my friends over at Noble Gold Investments. Colin Plume is a friend and a regular on Leak Project. He's very knowledgeable about the markets. He actually got into gold and silver because he saw how much money was manipulated in the fiat aspect, and he wanted to help his clients. Noble Gold Investments, if you want to convert your 401 or IRA, it's easier than ever. You can also convert into Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. You can mix it up and you can always go back into stocks. So it's really neat how many opportunities you have now. You can also hold gold and silver in your hands. Good luck finding gold right now. It's pretty tough. You'll be glad you give them a call. Let them know Leak Project sent you. If anything, just get the free books, How to Get Out of the Rat Race. Give them a call. And so, okay, you got Comet C 2019 Y4 and Comet C 2019 Y1. They're both Comet Atlas because they were discovered by the Atlas system. Now, you like the all-seeing eye that I put there, just a big eye. It's got a big eyeball with a reptilian opportunity. Now, I like this quote. Ron Paul says, overcome your fear of freedom. Yeah, overcome your fear of freedom, because a lot of people do fear their freedom. Now, the radius of the sun is 432,690 miles. The Earth's radius is 3,958.8 miles. And this giant plasma ball, I think that's what comets are, essentially these giant plasma balls flying through the filaments of the universe, kind of like the synapses of the brain. When you have a thought, that synapse goes bang, very similar. Now, I did in a previous podcast show, at least the 2D graphs models showed that Earth would be going through the tail of this comet approximately the beginning of December. But if you look at other models and 3D models, it looks like we should be okay and we'll avoid that electrical doom. I mean, I was thinking to myself, we're dealing with a weakened magnetosphere right now, a very weak magnetosphere because of the solar minimum. So if we start getting a bunch of space debris and lightning bolts coming in with a weakened magnetosphere, what's that going to do here? I mean, that's probably going to have some effect. So that's good news. Let's hope that this thing avoids passing Earth or Earth avoids passing it. Now, Greenland, this is interesting also because do you remember when President T said, hey, I want to buy Greenland? There was some talk about that and people thought that he was just goofing around or, trying to get a reaction out of people. There's a film that's coming out in a couple of months called Greenland, and there's an asteroid heading towards Earth. The governments only have a few weeks to deal with it, or I think even maybe a few days, and they're trying to get to Greenland because that's one of the safe spots where there's this bunker set up. So interesting. There's been a lot of films and TV shows I've noticed over the past few years portraying comet doom. It's always a doomy subject, but more than normal. And I want to share with you the blue Kachina in just a minute. So overcome your fear of freedom. Yeah, the comet atmosphere is 5 times bigger than Jupiter. It's about half the size of the sun. It's going to be closest to Earth, they say, on May 23rd. May 31st will be closest to the sun. That's with the Y4. We're going to look at Y1 here in a minute. Hale-Bopp had a tail that was 30,065,000 miles in length. So, Hale-Bopp. All right. Oh, yeah. Do you like this?
Hey, check this out. So, we got some of these coming in. We should be on the next couple of weeks. The pre-orders right now. Tinfoil Cat Backhoe. You like that? So, this, not only are you now got the face mask going on here, because a lot of places are saying you need to have a face mask to go outside, and the CDC is recommending it, but instead of using one of those medical masks that you look like a goofball, and I think they're not nearly as cool as these. You know what else this is? This is a silver fabric that blocks EMF radiation. So not only can you block EMF radiation, you can also use it as a face mask. You can take off your hat. You can cover up your head with this sucker. Check this out. So you can put it all over. Ow! All right, let's talk about it. Here we go.
This is the first comet that there's not a lot of information out on right now publicly. This is the 2019 Y1. And you can see if you go directly to in the sky org data, I'll leave a link in the video description box, Cassiopeia, constellation of Cassiopeia. I mean, it gives you an area. You could actually find this if you know how to use a telescope, if you've got one. I've got a telescope, and I mean, I can point it in the general direction. I just need to figure out how to use the computer system with it. It's actually a nice amateur scope, so we'll work on that. But that's the location, and that's about all I'm getting right now. That's about all I'm getting in reference to this comet. I mean, I can find plenty out on the C 2019 Y4 Atlas here. A lot of great amateur photographs. It looks kind of like the blue Kachina, the color of it, in my opinion. It's massive. It's getting bigger. It's going to be brighter. You're going to be able to see it with your eyes here shortly without even needing to use a pair of binoculars or a telescope. So that's awesome. This is the trajectory. This is the orbit, and this is starting today. So if I've got it on 6-hour intervals, and I'll just hit play here. I'll zoom in on this. You can see it's coming in. Just went past Mercury. Just went past Venus's orbit. Now it's curving back around. Earth catches up right around December, the beginning of December. And I'll leave the link to this in the video description box. These are actually some cool charts and some cool graphs you can look at and all the data if you scroll down. Right there if you want to look at the math, parameters, etc. So, glad we got that. Now let's go to the story of the blue and red Kachina. I'll leave the link to this website. This is from Jack Alice, author and spiritual teacher. I've never had an opportunity to meet or speak with this person, but I did find this on the web, and I think it's a wonderful story to share. And this is the story of the blue Kachina and red Kachina as passed on to Robert Ghost Wolf by Chief Dan Evahama, Hopi traditional caretaker. It's posted a couple years ago. The story of the blue Kachina is a very old story that this gentleman has been aware of since he was young. He was told the story by his grandfathers, who are now between 80 and 108 years of age. He also wrote about the Sakwasoha, the Blue Star Kachina, and the Book of the Hopi. The story came from Grandfather Dan, the oldest Hopi. So it then goes on to talk about how this blue Kachina would start to be seen at the dances. He would make his appearance known to the children in the plaza during the night dance. This event tells them the end times are near. The blue star Kachina would physically appear in the heavens, which would mean that we were in the end times. So then it goes on to say in the final days, you look up in the heavens and you witness the return of two brothers who helped create this world in the birthing time. Pokanhoya is the guardian of our North Pole, and his brother, Palangawoya, is the guardian of the South Pole. In the final days, the blue star Kachina will come to be with his nephews and will return the Earth to its natural rotation, which is counterclockwise. Now, this is a big deal right here, if this is true. This is saying that it's going to flip the Earth, and we're going to start spinning the other direction. That's a big deal. And if this was the original movement of the Earth, that's fascinating that now we're going back. You would think there's going to be a huge change for those that survive. And this talks about there being a transition, actually, a new age. There are a multitude of petroglyphs that actually speak of the zodiac within the Mayan and Egyptian pyramids as well, all around the world. The Four Corners region is an amazing place to see this. So we've got a lot of amazing times ahead. Now, if we go back to, I'm going to read a little bit more of this. The return of the blue star Kachina, who is also known as the Nanga Sohu, will be the alarm clock telling people of a new day, a new way of life, a new world that is coming. This is where the changes begin. Starting as fires that burn within us, which burn up with desires and conflict. And that's if you don't remember the original teachings. Now, a lot of us don't know these original teachings because we weren't told about them. So we have to find them ourselves. So this is talking about a return to the peaceful way of life. Not far behind, the twins will come the purifier, the red star, Kachina. Now, this is where I'm trying to figure this out because it talked about the two brothers coming in, right? Is that talking about two planetary bodies? Or is that talking about two aspects in space that are protecting the north and south poles, astrotheologically, that are connected to the spiritual frequency as well, the spiritual archetype, the spiritual self? If this is talking about two objects, and then now we're looking at this comet that is like a bluish green that's coming in hot, massive. They just tell us about it a couple months ago, and it's very low on the media scale because most people are worried about the outbreak that's going on, and I understand, I get it. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But if we take this to the other comet that they're telling you even less about, Comet C 2019 Y1, could that be its companion, the counterpart? And then what happens when the red Kachina comes in? That's when things really step up. So the purifier, the red star Kachina, brings the day of purification. That day, the earth, the inhabitants, the creatures, life as you know it will change forever. There's going to be messengers that come before this, leaving messages to those on earth who remember the old ways, or maybe those that have a desire to know about these ways. The messages are found in living stone, through the sacred grains, and even the waters. Crop circles have been found in ice. From the purifier will issue forth a great red light. All things will change in the manner of being. Every living thing will be offered the opportunity to change. If we go on to look at this in further detail, that's great. I mean, I'm glad that it says that because a lot of people are concerned with their DNA, with their heritage, with their religious beliefs. It's more about your consciousness, about who you are, where you're going, what you're doing, what you're searching, and what you're striving for. Wonderful. Those who return to the ways given to us in the original teachings will live a natural way of life and will not be touched by the coming of the purifier. They will survive and build the new world. Only in the ancient teachings will the ability to understand the message be found. Now, this is making me think about this digital age and the natives and the ancients. They were building stuff with the natural harmonics and energies of the earth and the universe, and magnetism, and the ley lines and specific energy spots, versus digital and fuel that they're pulling out of the earth. You know, this ridiculous pushing away from self, going even further into a dense aspect of reality if you look at it on a vibrational level. Man, if this is that time, if we're going into a new age, the Hopi and many natives and others, not from the Four Corners region, describe this new age and this new coming of being. Some people think it's the fifth age. Some people think it's the fourth. Now, the third age, if I'm not mistaken, is the yellow age. The fourth age is the white, and the fifth is the glitter age. So if that's describing how the sun is connected to the atmosphere as well as our own sun within, an atmosphere around our own beings, you know, some people think the star, our sun, is going white, but maybe it's not the star itself, it's also the weakened magnetosphere, because I can look at the sun during a sunset and it's very yellow and orange, similar to how it used to look 25, 30 years ago.
Here, check this out. So we've got some of these coming in. These should be in the next couple of weeks. You can pre-order these right now at tinfoilcap.co.
tinfoilcap.co.
You like that? So this, not only are you now got the face mask going on here, because a lot of places are saying you need to have a face mask to go outside, and the CDC is recommending it, but instead of using one of those medical masks that you look like a goofball, and I think they kind of They're not nearly as cool as these. And you know what else this is? This is a silver fabric that blocks EMF radiation. So not only can you block EMF radiation, you can also use it as a face mask. You can take off your hat. You can cover up your head with this sucker. Check this out. So you can put it all over. Ow! All right, let's talk about it. Here we go.
A lot of people think we're going into a change right now, into a transition that is going to be considered biblical. The time, the transition. What are your thoughts? Thanks for watching. Hit the bell, be well, and be the change you want to see. And thank you, Paula Estera, for sending me this amazing, well, I actually traded her a tinfoil hat for it, but still, this thing is awesome. It's like a medicine stick. So I need to get her back on the show soon. Be